Hi, I'm Red Myron. I'm a minister through Pathways of Light, and I've been a Course in Miracles student for 40 years. I'm going through the lessons this year, asking Jesus for clarity, and then I'm writing from that clarity, and that's what I'm sharing with you. So let's get started. Um, we're on lesson 127 today, which says that there is no love but God's. Paragraph 1. Perhaps you think that different kinds of love are possible. Perhaps you think there's a kind of love for this, a kind of love for that, a way of loving one, another way of loving still another. Love is one. It has no separate parts and no degrees, no kinds nor levels, no divergencies and no distinctions. It is like itself, unchanged throughout. It never alters with a person or circumstance. It is the heart of God and also of his Son. 2, love's meaning is obscure to anyone who thinks that love can change. He does not see that changing love must be impossible, and thus he thinks that he can love at times and hate at other times. He also thinks that love can be bestowed on one and yet remain itself, although it is withheld from others. To believe these things of love is not to understand it. If it could make such distinctions, it would have to judge between the righteous and the sinner and perceive the Son of God in separate parts. The idea that love is not different, has no degrees or kinds or levels, was lost on me for a long time. I understood the words, but not the concept. I accepted that it's true, but I had no real understanding and thus no experience of it. It seemed that the love for my children is different than the love I have for other children. And certainly my love of things in the world is different than my love of Jesus. Here's what I finally realized. I was confusing form with content. I have different relationships with different people and things, but love itself is the same and never changes. Also, I realized that how love is expressed through me may be different than it's expressed through someone else. How much I allow myself to feel love is different than someone else's experience. But love doesn't change along with these forms. Love remains the same. 3, love cannot judge. As it is one itself, it looks on all as one. Its meaning lies in oneness, and it must elude the mind that thinks of it as partial or in part. There is no love but God's, and all of love is his. There is no other principle that rules where love is not. Love is a law without an opposite. Its wholeness is the power holding everything as one, the link between the Father and the Son, which holds them both forever as the same. 4, no course whose purpose is to teach you to remember what you really are could fail to emphasize that there can never be a difference in what you really are and what love is. Love's meaning is your own and shared by God himself. For what you are is what he is. There is no love but his, and what he is everything there is. There is no limit placed upon himself, and so are you unlimited as well. I had some work done on my house recently, and the result was not what I expected. The work was shoddy, and I was resentful of the man who did it. It seemed like I didn't love this man. I certainly didn't love his work, and I didn't love him like the contractor I had before. Where did the love go? Why did it seem like it was different in this case? The answer is that I was judging, and so love becomes obscure to me because it cannot judge. I wanted to return to peace, and without the awareness of love's presence, I felt bereft. When I asked Jesus why I was judging this man, I was given an understanding. This was work I couldn't do. I had to depend on someone else. That it was done poorly left me feeling alone and vulnerable, like a victim. But I can't be a victim, and I'm never alone. I am one with all that is. I asked myself what this has to do with me, and that helped me to further detach. As my mind cleared, I remembered that I'm not the character in the story. The reason it feels like I am is because I feel what she feels. My job is to step back so that I can decide what I want to believe and what I want to release. With this clarity, I began to feel the judgment falling away and the awareness of love returning. This is not the first time or even the second time that I've been in this position with a worker. I've noticed that until we are done with a lesson, it keeps returning to give us another chance. I love paragraph 3 for its uncompromising statements. There is no love but God's, and all of love is His. God is love, and there is only God. If I feel something other than love, I'm feeling something that does not exist. I must be lost in a dream. Love is a law without an opposite. Only love exists. And so hate must, by definition, must be an illusion. And so I'm not bound to its laws. Its wholeness is a power holding everything as one. I think I can use the word love or wholeness or God, and I would be talking about the same thing. God is love, is wholeness, is one, and as His creation, I am that oneness as well. And so is the worker that I temporarily thought was outside love. How ridiculous that was. Love's meaning is our own, both myself and the worker. And God shares that meaning with us. Five, no law the world obeys can help you grasp love's meaning. What the world believes was made to hide love's meaning and to keep it dark and secret. There is not one principle the world upholds but violates the truth of what love is and what you are as well. 6, seek not within the world to find yourself. That's a capital S self. Love is not found in darkness and in death, yet it is perfectly apparent to the eyes that see and ears that hear love's voice. Today, we practice making free your mind of all the laws you think you must obey, of all the limits under which you live, and all the changes that you think are part of human destiny. Today, we take the largest single step this course requests in your advance toward its established goal. Oh, wow. Today, we take the largest single step this course requests as we accept what love really means. This is not to be taken lightly. I will not look to the world to discover love, nor will I look there for myself, my capital S self. This is why when I am reacting from the perspective of the world, I question who it is I think I am. I might ask myself what this situation has to do with me. It has nothing to do with me because I am not the character in the story. I am spirit, and spirit cannot be touched by the laws of the world. I'm not bound to the idea that I need to defend myself or that I must judge and plan and decide on my own. 7, if you achieve the faintest glimmering of what love means today, you have advanced in distance without measure and in time beyond the count of years to your release. Let us together then be glad to give some time to God today and understand there is no better use for time than this. 8, for 15 minutes twice today, escape from every law in which you now believe. Open your mind and rest. The world that seems to hold you prisoner can be escaped by anyone who does not hold it dear. Withdraw all value you have placed upon its meager offerings and senseless gifts, and let the gift of God replace them all. I thought at first that I didn't know how to do this. How do I let go of the value I placed in the world? Then, as I was more ready to do this, I began to see the value, and the ego mind couldn't see its way clear to let it go. For instance, from the perspective of the world, it seems counterproductive to let go of my grievance against a worker. It seemed that I would be left vulnerable to this kind of thing unless I held on to the lesson the ego was teaching me. It seemed unfair he gets away with this, and unfair I was left with the job poorly done. But I know this is just the ego thinking and not truth. I can insist on correction without being angry and without judging the worker. I didn't understand this before, but I know that it is true now. I can simply be aware that corrections need to be made and ask for that. And no matter how it unfolds, there is no need to abandon love. 9, call to your Father, certain that his voice will answer. He himself has promised us, and he himself will place a spark of truth within your mind wherever you give up a false belief, a dark illusion of your own reality in what love means. He will shine through your idle thoughts today and help you understand the truth of love. In loving gentleness, he will abide with you as you allow his voice to teach love's meaning to your clean and open mind, and he will bless the lesson with his love. The ego mind wants to plan what to say when the contractor shows up for his check, and I'm aware of all the thoughts about this, but I'm not going to make decisions on my own, and I'm not going to speak from that perspective. My only function here is to accept the atonement, and so to remain in love, not fear. That is my goal. I leave the rest to God and trust that I will hear his voice when it comes time to speak. In the meantime, I watch my feelings and my idle thoughts for indications I have not released the grievance. I will stop often and in silence allow the Holy Spirit to place a spark of truth in my mind where the grievance was. 10. Today, the legion of the future years of waiting for salvation disappears before the timelessness of what you learn. Let us give thanks today that we are spared a future like the past. Today, we leave the past behind us, never more to be remembered, and we raise our eyes upon a different present where a future dawns unlike the past in every attribute. 11. The world in infancy is born, newly born, and we will watch it grow in health and strength to shed its blessing upon all who come to learn to cast aside the world they thought was made in hate, to be love's enemy. Now are they all made free along with us. Now are they all our brothers in God's love. Each time I listen for his voice, and each time I choose love over fear, I am helping us to release a world of darkness so that we will be spared a future like the past. What better way could I spend my time? It is why I came, and it is my purpose while I am here. I'm doing my part to bring the real world into manifestation, to take the place of what guilt has made of it. 12. We will remember them throughout the day because we cannot leave a part of us outside our love if we would know ourselves. At least 3 times an hour, think of one who makes a journey with you and who came to learn what you must learn. And as he comes to mind, give him this blessing from yourself. I bless you, brother, with the love of God, which I would share with you. For I would learn the joyous lesson that there is no love but God's and yours and mine and everyone's. I look forward to using this lovely blessing on each person the Holy Spirit brings to my mind. What a joyous day this will be. So thank you so much for sharing this lesson with me. And thank you for watching my video. And if you found it helpful, please like it. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. And I will be back tomorrow with another lesson.